Hey guys, it's Maymay, and I've had a couple of people recently ask me if I would do a craft supplies for beginners kind of video. And in thinking about it, it's a really good idea because I remember, I'm not even going to joke, I don't remember when I started crafting. I'm too old for all that, but I know that I did not just have all of these supplies overnight. I know I have kind of grown my selection, but there have been times when I've seen people use things and think, oh, I need that in my stash, but it's not something I have to get started. So I thought what I would do is start by showing you some things that you could get started with. Now here's what's important. This is paper crafting that I'm going to show you. This is not floral arranging, it's not stamping, it's not it's not jewelry making. There's so many different kinds of crafting, and if you're interested in knowing what supplies you need for those types of, beginning projects, you can leave that in the comments below and I'll do my best to get that for you. Now, there may be a craft that I don't necessarily do, but I might contact one of my crafting friends and maybe do a collab and get them to kind of show you that kind of thing, because I also have a lot of crafty friends in the area and even on YouTube, so we might could get that for you too. But today I'm going to talk paper crafting, things that have to do with working with paper, and I hope this will help you. Now, the first thing that I want to point out to you that I think you will know is a running gotta have across any YouTube channel is a surface like this cutting mat. Now, I've had several different cutting mats. This one has become my favorite. I think what I like about it the most is that it's an 18 by 12 size mat. It's by Vantage. Can you see this? It's by Vantage. It's an 18 by 12 cutting mat, and it offers a lot. One of the things is it measures in inches, it measures in halves, it shows you quarters kind of at the bottom when you can't see where my hand is. It also has all these different lines going across that give you angles. Like this is a 60-degree angle. This is a 45-degree angle. You also have these intersections that can give you some 90 degrees in there too. So this has been my favorite mat. My original mat, my very first mat ever was this close to my heart mat. I do not hate this mat. I like this mat. I ruined it myself because I used a heating tool on it, and I'm going to see if I can hold it up where you can see it. I don't know if you'll... I warped it. See that? It's totally warped. And had I not warped this mat, I would probably still be using it. But I messed it up. Also, I needed a little bigger space, but if all you're doing is layouts, then this is perfect for you, I just wanted something bigger that would fit in my camera better and would also give me more space to work on either side. So that's a cutting mat, and these are not terribly expensive. What I hope to do at the end of this video is do a link to all these products. Now, I'm going to put it on my blog, and I'm going to try to put it in the description below to give you a link to everything so you can know where to get it. Because I've tried them, and these are my favorites. It does not mean they're the best. They're just my favorites. So this one is my favorite so far. Now I'm going to do easier stuff first. Let's talk, and I do want to tell you this. I'm going to break this into a couple sections. The first section are things I think you need to own to do paper crafting, and then the second section is going to be things I think you need to invest in if you're at that point, and I'll talk more about that when we get there. Okay, for paper crafting, you're going to need a ruler, but not just any ruler, a ruler you can read. This is very important. I've had lots of rulers in my life. We all went to school, we all learned about rulers and how they worked and things like that. But if you have a ruler you can't read, it does you no good. And just because this ruler looks super cool, if you don't know how to read it, it's not very beneficial to your craft. This is the Tim Holtz ruler, which I want to let you know, I did not buy this right away. I had just a regular ruler. Matter of fact, I had this broken T-square that I stepped on and broke. See it? So sad. But this is what I used for the longest time, and it was like $1.50 at Hobby Lobby. So you don't have to have a fancy one, but I'll tell you this. If you will watch for those coupons, and if you'll just kind of buy your products one at a time and get them 40 and 50% off, there's nothing wrong with that. And just kind of build your stash that way, or build your equipment that way. Now, this ruler is super cool. It does several things. It gives you 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 inch and inch measurements on, so it's easy to read like that. But you also can measure on the interior because of the way he designed it. So if you wanted this piece of paper to be 3/4 of an inch away from the edge, you could lay this ruler here and using the interior marks, you can pull this out to 3/4 of an inch, and you can line it up looking through the ruler to make sure it's correct. That's what's really cool about this ruler. So it does that for you. It also has holes in it all the way down one side. I don't know if you can see them, but they run right where my thumb is. And those allow you to use it to pierce paper and measure at the same time. So say you want to do some paper piercing, you can do it right here on your mat using your ruler, and that's super easy. But you're gonna need a really good ruler. That probably makes, you know, good sense. Now this is a normal size ruler. And then there's this little ruler that I bought on a whim. Now to be honest, I probably bought this ruler because I thought it was totally cute because it was teeny tiny. But I found that this guy's become really, really handy. It's 6 inches long, so it fits any of the cards I'm making that are in standard, you know, card sizes, except maybe a 5x7. But even at that, for matting purposes, it's awesome. And it has the same options that the Tim Holtz does with the inside with all the little lines. I love it. It's by EK Success, and these two rulers have been very, very beneficial. This one is one that you might consider, you know, investing in. This is not something you have to have. This one I would suggest, not the name brand, but this type of ruler, one you can use forever, is something you're going to need. So a good ruler. Next thing is a good scoreboard. Now here's the thing. You don't have to invest in a big scoreboard necessarily. If you're going to be doing a lot of larger projects where you're going to need to score paper that's 12 by 12, you're probably going to want one of the bigger jobs out there. But for me, I found that I use this one, the mini from Martha Stewart, more than any other scoreboard in my whole stash. And I have a couple more, but this one is the one I go to. I love that it holds my bone folder right here. So simple. It's always here unless I forget to put it back, which happens. So there's this, and then it's every 1/8 of an inch I can score. Now it is only, let me see how long it is. Let me measure with my board here. It is only about 9.5 inches long, but it only scores 8.5 inches because you have an inch up here, so it's 8.5 inches of score length, and it goes out to 7. Now I love this for card making. I love it for most anything, but the best thing about it is if you're gonna travel to crops or things like that, this will fit right in your bag, no problem, and it's affordable. And to make it even better, on the back is the easiest to use envelope maker this side of the We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch, because I think it's much easier. But this guy right here, super simple. And I did a whole review of this board and the envelope maker, and I will link that video below for you guys. So, a good scoreboard. So the next thing you're going to need is scissors and cutting equipment. Now these are standard scissors. Anybody carries these, any store, Walmart, Office. These are actually Office Depot brand, which I think are the best scissors in the world. I don't know if you've ever seen these at Office Depot. These came in a pack with a whole bunch of them, and I think these are the greatest just everyday scissors I've ever owned. They are sturdy. They were not terribly expensive, but these are your regular, everyday, average scissors, and these are right or left-handed. They work for both. But you're going to need a plain old average pair of scissors. Now this is not necessarily your utilitarian scissors, but they're not your, you know, paper scissors. These are scissors you're going to need for cutting ribbon or cutting rough, maybe glitter paper, or cutting chipboard. Something you're going to be cutting with your hand that's not delicate like paper. So you're going to need some good, just everyday scissors, okay? So there's one pair. The next pair I think you should get are these. Now, this is one of those investment pieces. Yes, you need this, but if you're going to invest in your craft, these are great to have. Couple reasons. Number one, my favorite part is they are coated. I think they're coated in Teflon. Don't quote me. I do not know, but nothing sticks to these guys. Nothing. I want to show you something. See this? This is hot glue, but it is not in there. It's out here and I can peel it off, but it does not mess these guys up. And I cut everything with these, including paper. The only reason I don't love it for all paper is they're serrated, so they have those teeth in there, and those teeth will leave marks on your paper. So I don't like it on all my paper projects, but these guys I'll cut anything with, and I love them. So consider getting you some good Tim Holtz. I think these are, yeah, these are the tonic scissors with Tim Holtz name on them. They're amazing. So you're going to need some regular scissors and some heavy duty scissors, and then you're going to need some delicate scissors. Now these are one of my favorite pairs. These are from Close to My Heart. I got them when I was a consultant with them, and I still to this day use these constantly, and I love them. I also love they have this cover because they are super sharp, but you're going to need these in your paper crafting. Because if you're like me and you fall in love with paper piecing, you're going to need something like this where you can do your fussy cutting. So you're going to need these smaller scissors. Now, I also recommend, I'll link these, but I'm also going to link the cutter bees. I do not have my cutter bees anymore. I think I left them at a crop, and I'm really sad about that. But these and the cutter bees are amazing, but I'll link both of them below. The cutter bees are a lot like this. They have the cover. They pretty much do the same thing, but you're going to need these. Now you're thinking, okay, now you've already told me about 3 pairs of scissors. If you can only afford 1, get these. Okay? If you can only afford 2, get this. And if you have the money to invest or you can wait on a coupon, add these. These are going to be something you add later. You don't have to run out there and have them, but once you have them, you'll be glad you do. Now let's talk paper trimmers. This is probably the most controversial thing I've ever run into in crafting because everybody has a favorite and everybody likes a different one. At this moment in time, this one is the one I'm using. I'm not going to tell you that it's perfect because it's not. It does have its issues and I did a review of it. I will put the link below. But at this moment in time, this is the one I'm using. If you're going to go out today and you're going to spend $30 on a trimmer, then I would suggest this one. It's fine for that. The only issue I have with it is a little bit of a measurement issue up here, which you can watch in that review. But other than that, this is a good one. The thing I like about it is it's a rotary cutter. I would suggest as a beginning crafter, if you can go straight to rotary, go for it. I did not do that, but now I wish I'd had this rotary cutter my whole life because it changes things. It does not allow you to cut things out in paper. Like if you want to do a frame inside a piece of paper, it's much more difficult for that. But I do suggest this one. Now, if you can afford 2 trimmers, get one that has this sort of blade, like this, that has a good strong carriage, so you can do that more delicate cutting in the center of pages with this kind of slide blade. But if not, this is a great cutter. Okay, so I'll link that review and you'll learn more about it, but you do need a paper trimmer. Now, let's talk bone folders. I have had a lot of bone folders. I'm going to show you 2 different kinds. This one, look how loved I am. Oh, I'm so sweet. This one's from close to my heart. Had it forever. Look how beat up. I still love this one. There's nothing wrong with it. I also had the pink Martha Stewart one. Nothing wrong with this one. I don't love how pointed it is. It gets really, really sharp here, and sometimes that pokes through my paper. So I have kind of retired this one, and I'm using it for more, you know, more utilitarian than actually paper scoring and things. But I found this one at a local Walmart, and it's EK Success. And I love all the differences in it. Notice how this one has the rounded off handle and it's really kind of not useful here. Pretty much only use you get is up here, and this is just kind of where you can hold it. With this one, I also have this area where I can you know, emboss or press down with this. I can score with this end. I can score with this end if I needed to. And I just really like the feel of this one better. Now there's some new ones out there that I think are made of, I want to say Teflon, but I think that's just in my brain right now. You guys tell me. There's those white ones that some people are using. They almost look like real bone. They're really, really pretty, and I don't know who makes them. But if you know, leave it in the comments. But those look amazing. Go ahead and get yourself a bone folder. You can get them pretty cheap. Here's what I don't suggest. I don't suggest this being your only bone folder. I know that's tempting because it does come with this. If you're just starting out and you just can't afford a bone folder today, fine, use this one. But I do suggest having one of these because you're going to use it for a lot and you'll need it more often than you think. And it's easier to grab this than to pull that whole board out and undo it. But you need a bone folder, so go ahead and get one of those. Okay. A craft blade, craft knife, whatever you want to call it. Most people call them X-Acto because that's a very, very popular brand. X-Acto's been around forever. Now, the thing I like about this one, I don't even know who it's made by. You guys might recognize it, but there is no name on it. The thing I like about it is it has a good fat, grippy handle here in the middle, and it's easy to change that blade. You just twist this end, and your blade will pop out, and so it's easy to change, and you just kind of do it like this and put the blade back in. It's just super easy, and I'm big on easy. So I like that, but any cutting blade will work for you. Now, I want to show you, I twisted it the wrong way. Now, I want to show you another blade. This blade is from Tim Holtz. It's a Tonic, Tim Holtz Studio one, and I don't love this blade. I got it for Christmas. I actually got it for Christmas 2 years ago and just opened it because I wasn't very enamored with it. And I feel as though It's just me. Maybe I should review it. But see how chubby this end is? I have a hard time getting that where I need it to go because you kind of lose the blade in your eyesight when you head for the cutting surface because it's kind of hidden by that chubbiness. Where with this one, I can see my blade all the way down, you know, to the tip of the blade. So I don't recommend this one. I really recommend this one. But somebody may know a perfect reason for this. And if you do, leave it in the comments. Let me know what you think of this. And maybe I'm just using it wrong. I love the grip. I love the way it looks. I love this for storage because I can hang it. But I don't love that even when I pull that blade all the way out, which I don't like to do, but even when I do that, I lose the blade in my eyesight when I go to the project. So I don't recommend this one, but I do recommend one like this. Tweezers. There are lots of people I know that use tweezers like crazy, and they are very, very useful in paper crafting. No matter what kind of paper crafting you're going to do, you're going to need some tweezers. These are from close to my heart. Do you see this very sharp point at the top? I love these. I love these tweezers. If I can't find them, I'm really sad because I use them for everything, including poking holes. So, because they're very sharp. I'll link these below too, but this is just a good, simple brand. If you have nothing but your average Tweezerman tweezers and you just want to use those, that's perfectly fine. But you're gonna eventually want to get something that has this precision tip on it. Now notice that these are open all the time and they just lay there open, and to close them you squeeze them. Cutter Bee has a version where, are these Cutter Bee or Tweezer Bee? I don't know. They're by EK Success. And these are different. See how they're closed all the time? And to open them, you press. There's a learning curve with these guys. You have to, let's see. If you've been tweezing your eyebrows forever and you're used to closing things down like this or using tweezers and closing them, it's really hard to remember, do I open or press or whatever, but let me tell you, you do get used to that. These are great. The thing I like about these is once you put something in it, it's in it. Okay, so I'm not having to do anything to hold it. So if I want to come out here and do some heat embossing, that's a cool way to do it. Whereas with these, I have to hold them tight and keep them closed. So either one works fine. This one's probably not that much more expensive than these, but a good set of tweezers is definitely needed. Oh, controversy. Okay, let's get into adhesives. I don't like to talk adhesives because, again, I think they're personal, and I think you find the one you like and you use it, and that's just how it is. Now, there are lots of adhesive out there, but for paper, you're gonna want some of these adhesives. These are a lot of times called snail rollers because I think that's one that's Stampin' Up. I think they actually marketed one like a snail or whatever. But this one is made by Tombow, who also makes the Tombow Mono Multi Glue, which is a good glue for paper. This one I don't have a refill for, but I do love how it fits in your hand, how compact it is. The adhesive works great. You can use this in your purse if you're going to go, like in your little bag if you're going to a crop or whatever. Love it. This one does a couple of different things. It rolls just like this one does, but it also stamps adhesive. It's empty, so I'm just showing you. It stamps adhesive as well. This is also a Tombow product, and you can use either one of them. This one's a permanent adhesive, and this is a dot adhesive. And depending on the dot you use, it might be permanent too. But this is what we call a dry adhesive. This is something that is going to be sticky forever. It's dry because you put it on right away and you don't have to wait for it to dry. It's already dry. So you're going to need something like this. If all you can afford, let me show you how many I have. Oh my gosh. So many different kinds. If all you can afford is these Elmer's kind, I use these whenever I teach a class or do something like that, and these work great. Now, they're not as good. The adhesive's not as good, but these work just fine. You can get the Tombow one, which I know, I think Gina K from Stamp TV, I think this is one of her favorites. I know that Tombow's a big brand that Christina Werner uses. Trying to think. I really enjoyed this one when I had glue for it. I just haven't bought any more to go in it. And then this one is really good too. It's just a preference on those. And you have to kind of use them and get used to it and just use what you like. Now, in the world of adhesives, you have this guy. This is an ATG gun. No, it is not. That's my pet peeve and I do it. This is an AT gun or ATG, because here's what that means. Advanced Tape Glider, ATG. This is made by Scotch. My first complaint is that it is pink. I don't buy anything pink, but this one is. And the reason it's pink is because it's too darn expensive to buy the red one. Because I don't know why, but they feel like the red one is more fancy. I don't know. But it's actually, little background on this tool. Let's do this. This tool was originally used in like big frame shops and things like that. And people started to buy it in the craft world. One person in particular was My Pink Stamper. She had one and everybody loved it. I loved it. I wanted one, but they were so darn expensive. Well, I think ATG kind of heard our cries. I think Scotch kind of heard our cries and created one for the crafting world. Now it's pink because a portion of the proceeds go to the Susan G. Coleman Foundation, which is amazing and that's wonderful, and I bought it, so there you go. But these are the ones you see in Michael's and Hobby Lobby and things like that. I personally think if you are going to buy an adhesive, go ahead and get ATG. And here's the reason. Number one, you get a lot more adhesive on a roll than you do those little hand dealies. And if you're going to make 10, 15 cards, you'll refill that guy a couple times before you finish. This one you won't. This adhesive goes longer just because it's more on the roll. Secondly, it's not that much more expensive if you buy it with coupons. This guy, I think like regular price around $30, but if you use a 40 or 50% off coupon, you're looking at $15, and it's a one-time investment for the gun itself. Adhesives can be more expensive, but the trick for refills, I should say, refills can be more expensive, but the trick is buy them on Blitsy when they go on sale. Watch Blitsy. I'll put a link below to Blitsy if you don't know what that is, but watch Blitsy because they'll have this stuff come out cheap, and I stock up. And I'll be honest with you, I stocked up over a year ago on Blitsy, and this is my last roll. I just put it in, and I use this constantly. And not just me. When Taylor's here and she's crafting, we use the ATG. At Christmas, my kids use it to wrap Christmas presents because they can never seem to find the tape, but that's another story. So ATG is kind of an upgrade, but not really. It's something you should invest in. Now, if you want to upgrade adhesive, I'm going to show you one. There are a lot of different types of adhesive out there on a roll like this. This is called score tape. There's also red line tape. There's sticky, what's it called? Sticky tape? Is it sticky tape from Stampin' Up? I don't remember. Somebody say in the comments. Those tapes kind of compare to this, but only sort of, and I'll tell you why. The red line and the sticky tape, I hope I'm saying that right, those tapes have to be cut from the roll to put onto your project, where score tape does not. I'm going to use a little bit of this 1/8 inch and show you what happens with it. This is 1/8 inch score tape, and what I love about score tape, besides the fact that it is super, super sticky, is that I can put it in place, put my finger there, and rip it without scissors, and now it's there. That, I think, is my favorite part of the score tape. It comes in multiple sizes. Let me see what I've got here. This is the 1/8 inch here. Look how skinny. This is the 1/4 inch. Let me show you one that's open. This is the 1/4 inch, so you can see it. And then this is the 1/2 inch. Let me hold them together so you get a good idea of the differences in the sizes. Now, you don't need this for card making per se. But if you're going to get into mini albums, and if you're going to get into, what are they called? Composition notebooks. I don't know where that went away. But if you're going to do composition books, or if you're going to do anything that needs a really permanent adhesion, that's what this is. This is good stuff for that. Now, I hoard it like crazy. I buy it when I can find it on sale, and I stock it up, and then I don't use it unless I know I'm using it on something I really need it to stay. So this is not something I would use constantly. But if you can afford to put some of this in your stash, I would suggest doing it. But this is top of the line adhesive. We kind of worked our way up with all the different adhesive types, but this is top of the line. Let's get this one out of the way. You're gonna need a glue gun. Even in paper crafting, like if you're, well, let me say this, not as much in paper crafting, but they're not very expensive to invest in a glue gun, and they're kind of touchy too, because like I hate this one with everything that's in me because it does nothing but leak constantly. But there may be the time when you want to make an embellishment, and using the glue gun is going to be easier than trying to use any other kind of adhesive. Like if you're going to make a rosette, if you're going to make a paper flower, you're just really going to need something like this so you can get the paper into the adhesive and let it stay there and dry really quick. Those just really, you really just don't make a rosette or a paper flower or anything like that, or a rolled flower with a dry adhesive. It's just not going to work. So look for a good glue gun. This is not it. Don't get this one. I haven't found one that I love. But a big one or a little one. Like if you just want a little one, they make them that have the smaller thingy. But I use this in all my crafting, so I went ahead and got this one so I don't have to change my sticks out constantly. But look for a good one. This is not it. I hate to say that. It's just not. First, these two products are two of my favorite products. And I have been using these as long as I can remember. Aleene's has an amazing line of adhesives. Everything you can imagine, from fabric to tack it over and over glues to, I mean, you just name it, Aleene's has it. And this one is the tacky glue and the turbo tacky glue. Now, I adore this stuff. I use it all the time. And I can use it in lots of different places. This one I use a lot if I'm going to be putting big pieces of paper together. If I'm covering chipboard, I'm going to use something like this. If I'm going to make a binder of a mini album or something, I might coat the whole page in this to give it good stability. This is something you're going to want to have in your stash. A good tacky glue. I personally like Aleene's. I've used it forever. I actually remember, this is going to be a long time ago, but I used to work in a craft store ages ago as an instructor. I mean, ages ago, like when I was 20. And so, Aleene's was all the rage, and Aleene's was coming out with all these new adhesives, like the tack it over and over, and the just so many I can't remember. I remember tack it over and over because people were like, "What? We can do this?" It's amazing. Anyway, I remember this getting famous, and I have used Aleene's products ever since. So you can't go wrong with this. Here's another tip. If you're going to have this, get one of these from the Dollar Tree. Keep the lid and store it upside down. Trust me on this. You will love having your glue upside down. Just sit it like this on the counter, and then every time you need it, your glue is down and you're not going, oh, it's such pain. This guy is fairly new on the market as far as I know. I saw it when Vicky, I'm going to try to say her last name, Pompano, I think is her last name, from I think it's Clips and Cuts. She was using it in a video, and I was like, what the heck is that? I love me some Aleene's, and I was like, I got to get one of these. But I'm still on the fence about it. I think the adhesive quality is amazing. It works great as far as drying fast and all that good stuff. The problem is it is not easy to get out. And my mother has arthritis, and it's getting worse and worse. Like, it has been in her knees and her feet, and now it's in her hands. This product, she couldn't even pretend to use this product. It is too firm and hard to use. And the tip, let's see how close we can get that to you guys. Can you see that tiny little hole? That tiny little hole seems like it would be amazing, but it is super hard to squeeze out of there. So if you have any hand dexterity issues or anything like that, this is a waste of money for you. Don't even consider it because you can't get it out. But if you don't mind fighting with it, it's a great glue. Instead of that, if you want to try another liquid, there's these kind of liquids that have these felt tips or nibs on them, kind of like markers, and they hold glue. Now, this is close to my heart's version of another glue that's known as Zig 2-Way. This is just close to my heart's kind of version of that. I like Zig 2-Way, but I bought a bunch of this when I was with Close to My Heart, and I used this, and I seem to get the same results from both of them, so either one's fine. The thing is, you have a fine tip and then this big fat tip. So the reason these are called 2-Way or dual action glue pens is this. Listen to this. If you make a dry bond, a temporary bond, you lightly apply this adhesive, allow it to dry, and then attach. So in other words, if you wanted something to be temporarily adhered to something else, you put this on, let it dry, and then adhere your pieces together, and it is a temporary bond. But if you put this on and while it's still wet, you put your piece on, it'll be a permanent bond. That's what 2-Way or dual action means. So consider these for paper crafting. They're really good for, you know, putting little pieces on and stuff like that. More wet adhesive. this one. This is not my favorite, but not for reasons of quality. It's a good glue. It's the Zip Dry, and a lot of people use it. Like my little, we have this card making group called the Dixie Darlings. They're so cute. But we have this little group, and we get together about once a quarter, and we make cards and things. And this is something they introduced me to, and it works really, really, really good. But it gives me a terrible headache. If they could make it without fumes, I would love it. But it gives me a terrible headache. So if you're sensitive to smell, and I'm typically not, so the fact that this gets to me, and Taylor says it makes me loopy. So, like, you know, crazy. Anyway, think about that. But this one works really good. It's a fast-drying adhesive. It dries clear because it is clear. Isn't that cool? It's used for photos, paper. It says it's wrinkle-free. And I like it. It's pricey. This one was $6.99. But anyway, think about something like this if you're going to be doing a lot of serious adhesion. Now, my last one is the E6000. The reason I suggest that you have this in your stash is because sometimes you're going to adhere things down that aren't made for normal glue. That you might have a metal brad, or you might have a metal sentiment plate, or you might have some of those little filigree things that are metal. And anytime you want to put metal down, use this stuff. It is the bomb. My daddy always said that this could stick sunlight to air, and I just think that's hilarious. The other cool thing about it is this is a flexible, paintable, and non-flammable product. It is waterproof. It's safe for photographs. It's just amazing. Look, it says amazing. I never knew that said amazing on it. Can you say that? Amazing. Amazing E6000. There you go. It really is. So have some of this. And let me show you something else. This is not it, but it comes in tubes this size. So if you just wanted to try this out, it comes in a set of some of these, like 4 of them. So you could just try it out with this, or just have it on hand in these smaller little tubes like this. This guy right here is one of those upgrades, if you ask me. If you can afford to put this in your stash, do it. This is a quickie glue pen. This is not something you have to have. But what I love about this is, it has this teeny tip. See that tip? And glue comes out of there. And if I'm doing my paper piecing, which I love to do, this is a great, great thing to do it with. It's called the Pinpoint Roller Quickie Glue. Let me see what it says to do here. Nothing. It's made by Sakura. Sakura, how do you say it? Sakura or Sakura? It's made by them. And it's for paper crafts. And every time I bring this out, like if I bring this at a crop, it seems like everybody goes and buys it right away. Because it works really well. So check this guy out. Now let's talk markers. Okay. You're going to want some markers. And you're probably going to want Copics. Because they're amazing. However, not everybody needs Copics. They're not for everybody. For me, they're kind of a step up. Let's talk about these and then we'll talk about Copic. Okay. These are Bic Market markers. I had never heard of these until Gina K from Stamp TV brought these out one day and was like, these are Bic Market markers and they're from Walmart and they're like $15 a set. And I was thrilled to find that out. These are acid-free markers. They have bold, long-lasting colors. They mark on just about everything, including glass, metal, plastic, photos, foils, coated paper, oily and damp surfaces. They are acid-free. There's no added acid and no measurable pH. They have an ultra-comfortable rubber grip, and they come in this convenient storage case. They're permanent, and they're kind of blendable with each other. Now, if you have a blending pen from, say, Copic or something like that, you can use that and blend them. It works really well, or even to take color away, because they don't really blend, but that's another tutorial. Anyway, so these are great and they're not very expensive. So if you can afford something like this, this is a good set of markers to add to your collection. There is a little bit of a learning curve with them. You need to test them on your paper before you just go crazy coloring, because they bleed worse on some papers than others. So if you have a favorite paper, go ahead and test these and see how they work for you. These colors are amazing. One thing I like about this, and I've got them way out of order, but I like that they kind of have different shades of the same colors. Like here's a green and here's a green. This color's a tan, and then where's my Tiki Hut tan? Here's another tan. So they kind of work together because they're in shades of each other. So I really like these, and so affordable. This is my entire Copic collection. It's so sad. I got them for Christmas last year, and I have played with them a couple times, but they scare me. I'm not good at them. They're very wet. They have dual tips on these. I don't think they all do, but this is the sketch markers. So the sketch have both. And then this is the blender pen. The chow, yeah, the chow has it on both ends too, so it has a brush and then a fine chisel point. Not fine, this is just a medium broad point. These to me are like the paintbrush of ink. You have to kind of get used to these and where the ink's going to go and how it's going to blend. But there's lots of tutorials out there, and to me this is a very, very big upgrade from these guys. If you just need to start out, get these. They'll be fine. You'll go a long way with these before you have to upgrade to these. And nowadays there's a lot of stuff in between. Like there's the Spectrum Noir, and Tim Holtz stuff is looking really good. If you watch Christina Werner, she uses those Tim Holtz watercolor markers. Those are distress markers, I think. They look really good. Okay, now let's talk about pens. These 3 pens are 3 of my staple pens in my stash. This one is a white Jelly Roll pen from Sakura, and this is a glitter pen from Sakura, and this is a white Uniball Signa pen. Now, I got this one when I first started out because I was so excited to find one. I thought they were hard to come by, but they're not quite as hard as I thought. But this is what I got when I first started out. And I was happy with it because I could make pretty good dash lines, and you know, you can see it pretty good on paper. And I was okay with it. But then I watched Christina Werner's video on which is the best one out there. And this is the one she uses. And so look at the difference. I personally think you can see this one better. I even accidentally left the cap off of this one. Still works. I don't know how, but it does. And it's not terribly expensive, but you will want to have a white marker because it's great for putting stitches and things on your cards. This guy is kind of like, if you can do it, do it. It's a glitter pen. Let me just do a bunch of glitter so you can see it. And I may have to pick it up. See it right there? It's a glitter pen. It's super cool. Anytime you want to color anything you've stamped, you can color right over your ink, right over your markers, whatever, and it just gives it a glitter, and it's super cute. So this one's Jelly Roll by Sakura. They have these at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, just about everywhere. Now, paper. Paper does different things for different people for different reasons. If you're just going to be card making, you're not going to be coloring or anything like that, any old paper will do. There's paper and there's cardstock. Cardstock's what you're going to use for your actual card base. The heavier the cardstock or the more poundage of the cardstock paper, the sturdier it is. It's a feel thing. You're going to have to decide which one you like best. Don't worry if you're not using some kind of paper somebody else is using. For example, this paper I've been using all day is super thin paper. It's not really considered cardstock, although it is, but it's just super, super thin. I wouldn't use this for a card base, but something like this, I would use for a card base. And it's by feel. I don't know who makes this one because these are scraps out of my scrap pile. But you're going to have to get comfortable with that. Watch people, see what they use, and see which one really impresses you, and kind of get your paper that way. Now let's talk about paper cutting on a different scale. This is a corner chomper from Crocodile. And not from We Are Memory Keepers. It's a Crocodile corner chomper. This cuts the corners of your page and leaves. Okay, see that rounded that edge? That's the 1/2 inch. And if I flip it over, you get the 1/4 inch. Now here's the thing about this. When I first started out, I think I've thrown it away. When I first started out, I had this Fiskars one that was total crap. I could not use it. I hated it. And these are like $15, I think, and then you can use a coupon on them. But the thing is, if you can afford to go ahead and get this style, get it. You'll be happy and glad you did. It'll last you forever. Those little ones, you just wear them out so fast. If you can afford this for your corner chomper, get it. If you want to spend the money in one place but get multiple items, let me show you this. This is $20 or less, because now I've seen them much cheaper. This gives you an envelope maker, a bone folder, which is really, really fabulous. This is a really nice bone folder, a place to store your bone folder, and a corner rounder. I don't know if this is going to fit in there or not. Nah. Let me see. I'll do it on this end. Yeah. And a corner rounder. You can see the tiny bit it took off. But this is kind of 3 products in one. So if you can't afford to spend, you know, $15 on one tool like this, get something like this that you can make an envelope with, you can score with, and you can corner round with. So think like that. If you can get a multi-purpose tool, do that. The next thing is hole punching and eyelet setting. Now, this portion up here is for setting different eyelets and things like that. I don't use eyelets a lot. When I do, I use this though. What I like this one for are the 2 sizes of hole punches you get on either side. One is here where my index finger is, and one is here where my index finger is. And what this does is this one gives you a 1/8 inch hole. This one gives you a 3/16 hole. If you can afford this, you should get it. You get 2 holes out of it. You might want to upgrade this later to the big one, but for now, this one works just fine. If you have to, there's always these guys, okay? This is going to give you a 1/4 inch hole every time, just a regular old hole punch, which works just fine. But if you can invest in this, go ahead and do it. Use those coupons. All right, this is my last thing. This is an investment piece. I told you I was going to talk investment pieces. If you're going to be doing paper crafting, you're going to be paper piecing and things like that. If you can get one of these pick-me-up tools, I would suggest you do it. It's a little confusing, so I want to show you this. You do not twist this top to take the lid off. You pull. It's actually very important to do that. If you twist, you release product, okay? So whenever you've used all the sticky off of the tip, what you'll do is take this off, twist this slightly until you get a little ball at the top, and you're ready to go. Let me show you what it does. Okay, so say I want to put this piece on this piece, but it's too small for me to hold. My dexterity is not great. I can take this little pick-me-up tool, pick it up with this, take the end out, which now becomes like a second hand, place this where I want it, and then release it. And so if I have little tiny pieces I'm working with, this thing is amazing. This tool comes with, and don't look at this end, it's all got glue on it. It comes with the flat end and the pointed end, which is super pointed, so you want to store that on the inside. And then this sits just on top. Don't twist it, okay? So that's kind of my recommendation, guys. And like I said, that's paper crafting. This is not stamping. If you want to know what you need for stamping, leave it below. If you want to know for any other project, leave it below. This is not an all-inclusive list. If there's something I missed, please put it in the comments below because people need to know what's out there. If some of these are your favorite or your not-so-favorite product, leave it in the comments below. Let people see. I don't have a problem in the world if somebody disagrees with me because I think it's so personal that what you like, I may not like, but you may like something for a reason I didn't know, and I need to try it. So please, the only, bad opinion is one we don't share or something. I don't know. I think that just like the zip dry, I never used it until the girls at the crop showed me it. And like I said, it's not for me, but certain people love it. So leave your recommendations below. I hope this was helpful. If you want to get into the other things, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to share those with you. And thanks for joining me today. And I will see you guys Wednesday for a quick midweek minutes video. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.